I just thought I'd fill you in. It is Thursday morning, I guess, and this is the 501 west of Milk River. This is probably the closest straight through road to the 49th parallel, so I might as well just take it instead of, you know, winding down little trails and backing up. And there isn't very many anyway. Like I say, this road is basically as close to the Boundary Commission's track as you're gonna get. But I really thought that we might have seen the mountains right as we came out of town. It is another hazy morning, smoke in the air and that sort of stuff. So otherwise the countryside looks very, very familiar from what we've seen. So I will keep you posted. As soon as I see the mountains, I'll let you guys know. Just another little tidbit. I know I haven't seen the mountains yet, but I just came around the corner of the highway, and a memory of way back when we lived in Pincher, and I was taking the kids and the whole family and the dog Roy to Writing on Stone for the day. We weren't camping, just went for the day and had a picnic and swimming in the river. Anyway, Roy was a terrible traveler. Roy, I've never seen a dog that hated traveling as much as that. You know, if he was in the back of a pickup truck like you would think, no, that dog would put its head in the corner and just weep. But anyway, in the car, no, it would start to salivate. Oh, just a sec, here's a quick look out the window. There's a couple of pronghorn antelope. Anyway, on that corner I was just looking at back there, as I came around the corner, I remembered stopping the van or the car or whatever it was we had, and having to get Roy outside on the side of the road so he could puke. What a thing to remember, right? I just went, oh, I recognize that corner. That's where the dog puked. Yes. Anyway, memories. Still no mountains yet, though. Still no mountains. Now I can see the mountains, but you probably can't. So they are just little impressions in the haze on the horizon. You can see the odd bit of patch of snow on some of them, and they just discoloration in the discoloration. So we're going to have to get a lot closer before they'll become distinctive at all. I wonder if the Boundary Commission were thumping along here with their noses to the grindstone, or they're watching where the horses were walking or something or other, and then didn't realize that there was the mountains in front of them. Mind you, at that time of year, they may have been more white because, well, I don't know. Might have been snow in September, but anyway, not much to see here yet. Crossing the Milk River again. I think this is the North Milk River. I could be wrong, but anyway. Quick little video that'll probably disappear. The one thing I have noted here, although you still can't really see the mountains back, what I have noticed is the color of the grass of the rangeland. It's much drier here. They obviously haven't had, what's that, a raven? They just haven't had the rainfall further east, like in the Saskatchewan and even on the eastern part of Alberta there, where everything was so lush. This is looking more typical in my mind anyway. Kind of dried out. You can see the cut banks of the Milk River down below there. But I just thought that it was kind of interesting that we've the moisture can change just from one side of the province to the other, I guess. So here's a landmark, Del Bonita. Mark. There's a border crossing called Del Bonita you can get down into Montana from. This is just one of the Cut Bank, Montana. Carts straight ahead, Lethbridge. But it's quite some story. I don't know if it still goes on, but the school kids here, you know, they went to elementary on one side of the border and high school or junior high or whatever. Oh, there's a school down over there. It looks boarded up. Anyway, that's the way it used to be. They used to share a school zone with their cousins across the border in the United States. Like I say, whether they still do that now, I have no idea. Lots of those coming up. 53 the Cardston, and you can kind of see the mountains making themselves a little clearer just before I go into a coulee again. There we got a bit of a panorama of the mountains showing up here. I think this might be the valley of the North, possibly North Milk River. Oh, okay. I've been looking for Chief Mountain, and I think that's straight ahead. Only it's at such a narrow little angle. That it doesn't look like its usual self. Okay, back into the freaking bog here. So we'll turn it back on as we're going down here, because just because we might lose it. But if that's Chief Mountain, which is just disappearing over ahead of us, that means all those mountains that you can now no longer see are in Montana. Let's see if they give us a name on this. Because there is two branches of the Milk River at this point. There's the north and the south. No, doesn't look like there's going to be any sign on this one. Could be heading into, let's see, we'll pass Del Bonita, flip this over, and we're heading into, yeah, that's the North Milk we just crossed, and we're heading into Whiskey Gap. It's an interesting little tidbit, as my mother knew Whiskey Gap, because one time she worked as a secretary or whatever for the Alberta Wheat Pool, and there actually used to be a railway track through here and some grain elevators, so she knew about Whiskey Gap. The name is obvious. This was one of the routes through from the States to bring the whiskey in. I'm not exactly sure what era the name was coined. If it was, you know, Prohibition days, or if it was earlier, because basically they used any crossing before the Mounties showed up to bring their whiskey in. I'm not sure if this would have been part of the Ripplinger Trail that he brought us supplies up from Sun River, Montana to Standoff. somewhere in here he would have come through. Now again, I'm not even sure of my own memory here, and on my manuscript I may actually have my ill-fated wagon train come up the Milk River and pass through here on their way to Massacre Butte, just north of Cowley. But yeah, when we come out the other end, you'll see, have a better view of the mountains. Not to forget the roadside turnout, seeing how we're talking about Whiskey Gap. There's there's a bit of concrete over there where those cows are scratching themselves on. But here's the tail. Once part of an illegal cross-border liquor trade. Whiskey Gap cuts through the Milk River Ridge. It does. This actually cuts through the Milk River. The Milk River Ridge runs that way. But see, this is 1912. Hog carcasses used to smuggle. So it must have been something like. This is after. The famous whiskey trade. Although it says in the 1860s and 1870s, American traders used to use this opening to cross into Canadian territory. Well, in the 1860s it wasn't Canadian territory, to trade whiskey with the First Nations for buffalo robes and furs. Took a heavy toll. You know, the reports of liquor smuggling through the Northwest Mounted to establish a detachment in the area in 1877. Well, yeah, that would have been the time period when they were stamping out the last of it. Oh, Canadian alcohol was smuggled into Montana in the 30s. Began to lose, yeah, okay. Somewhere here, maybe that might have been the railway embankment, and there would have been elevators sitting right there. But anyway, and finally, as the mountains are becoming more clearer and clearer, we can finally see Chief Mountain. It's kind of funny because when you see it from Pincher, you're seeing it from the side, from the face on maybe, and it's a big square block. But from along the 49th parallel here, it's more of a like a thumb sticking up. So that would mean all the mountains, if you can actually see them in this camera that we're looking at now, are actually in Montana. And that was out our living room window at Range Road. We could see Chief Mountain, and the mountains that we could see beyond Chief Mountain. Well, what Chief Mountain, like the Sweetgrass Hills, is in Montana, not in Canada. The mountains in behind that you can see over there are, now those are, that's the Waterton area. But from our living room window, we could see Chief Mountain and the mountains in behind, so we could see 30 miles into Montana. I think I've been up this road there once. Anyway, yeah. Chief Mountain is a kind of an important landmark. Because believe it or not, from this angle it's hard to tell, but it actually stands out by itself. It's a kind of a forerunner of the Front Range. So yeah, so it's actually quite a stunning landmark in its own right. Some more shots of Chief Mountain. The story is that the natives would actually scale the mountain to have their vision quest. And I can't remember now, there is a story about, you know, the lovers or whatever who end up going off the edge or something or other. I can't remember now. But you would think that if you're going for a vision quest up there, you better take many buffalo robes to keep warm at night, or they'll just find your hypothermiaed corpse at some later date. because that's a long ways up there. And you can see the tree line. I mean, not that these mountains are particularly tall, but it's just that at 49 degrees latitude, the tree line, like there's mountains taller in Colorado that the tree line goes higher, but anyway, it's up here. Get cool at night. Oh, just about to lose it behind a hill as usual. Well, there's Chief Mountain from a more oblique angle, a little further north. This is the road, the Police Outpost Provincial Park Access Road, south of Cardston. I got gas in Cardston, yay! There was actually a pay at the pump in Cardston. Of course, that's a whole nother story about Joseph Card and the Mormons coming in here. I guess one of the little stories is, of course, of this land we're driving on right here. The Kainai, the Blood Indians, thought it was supposed to be part of the reserve. They wanted the reserve right down to the 49th parallel, and it would kind of tie in with their cousins, the Southern Bacani, whose reserve borders Canada on the other side. But the Canadian government did not want reserves touching the touching the boundary. So they stopped, and I can't remember if it's 9 or something miles. So, and they let the Mormons come in, and Joseph Card and his crew, and build their town where it is today, which is on the actual southern boundary of the Kainai Blood Reserve. But today, to this day, I think there still could be litigation going on because of the understanding that this should have been part of, or at least the Kainai believed that this should have been part and parcel of the reserve. But it's another one of those cases that it ain't gonna happen. I don't know if I want to downshift to there. Maybe I'll just stay in that gear. Anyway, we'll get around the corner here. Another shot of Chief Mountain. I'm actually amazed that it's June. Well, I guess anything can happen. It's June and there's very little snow on the mountains these days. But like I say, it varies from year to year, and it has nothing to do with global warming. It has to do with weather variations. Climate change? Well, climate is always changing. So the mountain off to the left there is like I said, is in Montana. Because Chief Mountain is in Montana. But these mountains up my front windshield here, those are in and around Waterton, where we're heading next. Oh, the camera's acting up again. It's not shutting off when I'm hitting the shut the goddamn hell off button. No, I don't know about these GoPros. They are just an absolute pain in the patoot. Let's do that and see what that happens. Nothing. But actually I'm going to Police Outpost Provincial Park first before Waterton anyway, but let's shut it off. Yeah, another little interesting view between the hills, Chief Mountain. Trouble with the camera, seems to overheat or something like that, and then you have to physically shut the camera down instead of being able to use the control. Like now, it just will not shut off. I've got to turn the camera on for this. This is just, you can't not see this. There's to the south in Montana. If you did cross the St. Mary's River, so you know, that's, yeah, the Boundary Commission would have passed right through here. There's Chief Mountain, and now towards Waterton. Oh, Mount Dungarvan off in that direction. Well, stomping country. Stomping country? Stomping grounds. How could you leave this? How could you leave this? No. I must have been insane. Or madly in love. Here's another little bit of trivia now that we're back in, I hate to say my land, my former, you see this tin roof shed here? Well, that was built by Bruce Brady, I believe, in the co-op yard in Pincher Creek. But I do not believe that I did not deliver that. Probably too big. Probably Bruce Brady had some kind of arrangement. But anyway, yeah. At the police, oh shit, change gears. At the police outpost thing, I'll maybe, I don't know if I'll be able to get up to the border or not. We'll see. Remember over a week ago? Don't even remember how long it was, when I was at Buffalo Point in the southeast corner of Manitoba, starting off to follow the 49th parallel. Well, you know, like I say, Chief Mountains in Montana, the 49th parallel is just over this hill. I don't know if there's just, I don't think you can see any cut line through the trees, but anyway, just a few more hours or whatever, I'm going to be at the far end, as far as I can drive anyway. This is where what it was all about, I guess. Just over the hills here, the Boundary Commission just were jolly having to see trees and fresh water and stuff. It was a bit of a pain trying to get their wagons through here, because the boundary would be to the right of Chief Mountain, so they would have to go over the shoulder there. But like I say, I don't know if it's maintained anymore, if there's a big slice through the forest here. One could probably see it on Google Map or not, but I just thought, yeah, I don't think going down into the park and hiking over the hill, I mean, when this is not, you know, to see how close to the boundary, I'm sure I remember you could actually walk up to it, but my point is that this isn't the end. This isn't the end of it. I've still got a ways to go, a little ways to go there. So let's not celebrate until we actually get to Cameron Lake. Who is the Canadians' chief commissioner, by the way? His last name was Cameron. Of course, the American's name was Campbell. Anyway, well, I don't think I'm gonna have to do this. I suppose we couldn't drive through Mountain View without showing that it's got the mountain view. just crossed the Belly River, coming down in the valley, but I'm just wondering here, it looks a little desolate, and I'm just wondering if this is the result of those fires, that maybe those mountainsides had been burned off. Waterton's up that way, up the left, and there's Corner Mountain there, so that's off towards Pitcher Creek. But it just seems a little badlandy, drumhellery or something or other. And I wonder if it's just because I see gray, lots of gray, like dead trees. So I'm just wondering if that's the story. In truth, is that's the damage from the fire they had the other year. It burned, practically almost burned out Waterton. But it gives it a kind of a different look, that's for sure. We're coming to the edge of the, oh, here's the edge of the park right here. Seeing how, see the Boundary Commission, let's go down. This is where they started having trouble, because the 49th parallel runs over those shoulders of those mountains, and then you'll see it drops down into the lake, and then sheer drop down to the lake, and then a sheer climb up the other side to reach to the great the Continental Divide. They had already They had already, 10 years before, they had done the 49th parallel from the ocean to the Continental Divide, so they had a point they were going for, because there already was a marker and always was a post that they had measured and everything 10 years before. So some of the people, because you couldn't get to it from this side, they actually hiked up some of the, the Acamina Pass and stuff like that and snuck up in behind and were able to, verify that where they were and this sort of thing. But this was, in effect, they abandoned. It was the end of the season, and there was just this little bit, and they had a general idea. And it might have not been until like 1912 or something like that before they finally, if they ever even bothered. But yeah, look at that. All the burnt trees are gone. Or all the trees are gone because they're burnt. Oh, I'm going to slow down here. We'll be turning into the park in a second here. I'm going to shut my apparatus. Wait, hold the bus. We must be 3/4 of the way through. And what do I spy? Bring out the Sharp's buffalo gun. Let's see, I'll wave this camera outside and maybe you can see them on the alkali flats there. Oh. I take it back, there they are. Little babies feeding. Everybody else on the most desolate piece of property. Most desolate piece of property of the whole place. I mean, on one hand, you've got to admit that they are impressive, but on the other hand, was that worth, 5 minutes out of your life and, batter your vehicle around on this little horse track here? Anyway, there we have done the obligatory buffalo paddock. Well, if nothing else here, I'm at the very windy shores of Waterton Lake. We have my sandwich here, and I've got the remote mic on, and all the little lights are on. The antenna seems to be working, so we'll see. I'll walk down by the water first, just have a little palaver. And I got my keys, shut the door, and hopefully this remote mic with a little fuzzy thing on it will do what it's supposed to do, up branches. Because as usual, it is windy as Waterton Lake. So whether or not this mouthpiece, it's got a little furry ball on it, and all the little lights were on. So let's see if we'll find out in the end if we'll be able to hear me talking or not. There you can see the burnt forest up above. Look at that. That used to be all thick forest. When you'd hike up the Buffalo Lake trail up through the cottonwoods there, that was all thick forest. But still, you gotta be impressed by the color of the water anyway. So anyway, the boundary comes over the mountain somewhere there, just down a little ways, basically straight into the lake, and then it had to go a little bit down further, but it had to go straight up the other side and over the top. So the Boundary Commission did try. There are some guys who had been working on the survey on the Great Lakes, and we're familiar with nautical craft, and they built a couple of boats out of wagon boxes and used tarps to waterproof them, stuff like that. And so they're very precarious, but they managed to paddle down and basically mark where the boundary came across, but they couldn't get up, they couldn't do anything else, and they were lucky to actually come back without being washed away or drowned or whatever. The lake was so rough that I'm not sure if they came ashore here or further down, but the water was so rough that some of the ground crews that were still here ran out into the surf. That looks really thrilling, to grab the boats before they were capsized by the surf. But anyway, yeah, I've never seen it like this before with all the trees gone. That is absolutely, but again, it's like the changing climate. It's the changing, things change, nature changes, fires come through, rebirth, restart, things go again. It looks different in our lifetime. We may never see it the way it was before. There's a bear's hump up there, across the lake. But that's it. We may never, we may never pass this way again. And people will remember it looking like this. And there'll be us old people who will remember it being a forest, because there's a hiking trail somewhere up there, and it was through the forest. And then in some distant time in the future, if there still is actual humanity still around, then they'll remember it differently. But this is the mouth of all this gravel and stuff, the Campbell Creek that comes, that Campbell Falls that comes from Cameron Creek comes over the Cameron Falls from Cameron Lake, which was, I was hoping to get up there because the end of the lake is Montana. Like this lake, it goes a long ways down through Montana. Like I'm not even sure where exactly the boundary is, but at Cameron Lake, you knew that the end of the lake was Montana. So
I was hoping to, oh, there, I could see some people hiking on that trail. You can actually see them. I see you. Anyway, I'm gonna go break out my sandwich that I got from Subway last night, and hopefully these remote mics are working in this. That was the whole perfect reason for getting them, because I knew it was going to be windy down here. I've been lucky down in the Writing on Stone and places like that. I've been pretty darn lucky that it wasn't as windy, so I didn't have to wear the remote mics, but I did come prepared. We shall see whether they actually work or not. Let's see if I can kill this now. So so this is it. This is, yeah, okay, I'm not done yet then. From however many days ago, down at Buffalo Point, Manitoba, to here. This is the end point, because I can't get any farther. Sort of like the Boundary Commission when they got down here and they just, they went up the Akamina Pass to get around to where the marker was, but the road to the Akamina Pass is closed. That's the road to the Cameron Lake, so I can't get up there. So this is the end. From now on, I'm just, I'll look around a bit more, then I'll go up to Pincher, poke around. I may not video any of it. Then work my way up towards Edmonton. And then I guess I got things to do there. I got to remember about the archives and stuff. I wouldn't mind seeing a dry island and buffalo jump. Woohoo, woohoo! But anyway, different things like that. As far as this Boundary Commission sojourn, adventure, it ends here. It ends here on the shores of Lake Waterton, in the southwest corner of Alberta, from the southeast corner of Montana to the southwest corner of Alberta. And it didn't take me 2 years or 3 years, like the 2.5 years, like the Boundary Commission. But anyway, I'll sign off. Hopefully this is worth watching when it's finally edited. As well, it is a little breezy. I got the remote mic on again. It's not as breezy as I thought it was. Waterton seemed to be way worse. So way on the horizon there, that's the 49th parallel, and it crossed into those mountains, and then Waterton Lakes is that kind of a little bit of a gap in there, and then in the divide is where they met up with the rest of the 49th parallel coming from the Pacific Ocean. You got that's Victoria Peak there, that was Mount Dungarvan there, and I don't know, way over there is Corner Mountain, and that's the Shell gas plant there. Oh, and here you can hear the magpies. And there's St. Henry's Church. Like I say, I know the guy who had a black shingle roof, and I know the guy who did the metal roof there. So I don't know if this will stand up and I can be in my own. I don't know if I can give a conclusion right now. I'm kind of at a loss for anything. It's the wrong direction too for me, because I'll be just a silhouette. It's noon. It's about noon, and that's the trouble. So I'd just be a silhouette in the picture anyway. Here. So anyway, that's sort of the conclusion of my Follow the Boundary Commission. And like I was saying, I have no further plans. I'm a week ahead of schedule, because I really had no idea, and I imagine, if I had realized that the camping was going to be as expensive as it was and as dirty as it was, with the dust coming in through this tent of a Jeep, maybe I would have, well, yeah, Eunice will have a fit if I said something like, maybe I would have planned more money. She thinks I've spent, and it's true. I have spent way too much money on this, just for that. And now here it's over. Like I was saying, on whether the videos will ever get, because this turns out this seems to be eating some of the pictures. Some of my videos aren't showing up when I go to transfer them over to the computer. So, and in my mind, the distance was way too far to do these things like more drone shots and more, you know, setting up the camera and driving past and all that cool stuff that people do. I'm not expert enough in the drones to be able to make some of the fancy drone shots either, but so it is what it is. I did in my amateurish way. If some of it's lost, I mean, it's amateurish at best anyway. But here, let me do one more different angle here while I palather here. And there's the Jeep. It's made it all the way from Pictou County. Little Buff. I did use the jerry cans there. But here, let's see if I can continue my palavering. Like I say, I don't know if I've got anything left to say. But you can probably, maybe you can see the background. I guess kind of like what I was saying, this is the country I ended up, this is the one I guess I chose. So it's a hard thing not to be part of it anymore. We'll cruise past the old homestead, go into town and see Hill House, maybe look up a few people, and then yeah, otherwise life goes on here. I'm just the ghost in the machine. Not really, just passing through. Anyway, I'm gonna eat my sandwich, I guess. It's almost nice enough to send a drone up, but I don't know, you know, here. I don't know if the drone could do any justice to this, except, you know, maybe see beyond the hedge there. But otherwise, as a matter of fact, it's behind the church. But you could, I'm almost positive, you could see St. Henry's from our place on Range Road. Oh well. Like I say, if one was thinking about being planted, this would be a nice spot, although you wouldn't get to enjoy it. But yeah, it's the dead thing on the stick there, that's kind of the big turn off. Anyway, we'll like I say, I wish I could zoom this thing, but we'll finish off with this and have a lunch.